Hi, everybody. Dan Illman, Mike Beer. DRF race of the day for Wednesday, May the 17th. This race number 8 at Horseshoe, Indianapolis. It's a good one. It's a stakes race on the turf for 3-year-olds going a mile. It's the Caesars. $150,000 is the purse. Let's take a look at this field. Please scan or click the QR code so you can submit some questions to the DRF Preakness webinar I'll co-host with David Aragona Thursday, 8 p.m. We'd love to see you there. We're going to talk all things Preakness. Mike, the 5 dude in Colorado, is the 9-5 morning line favorite in the Caesars. It's Todd Pletcher. It's first time Lasix.
Yeah, and I guess it's a good spot for him too, Dan. I guess just did a little too tough last time at Keeneland. This feels like a better spot. He gets Lasix on here. He does want to be forward, though. This pace could be fast.
That's a very good segue into our Timeform US pace projector. Timeform US concurs with your assessment. Note the red bar indicating the fast pace, and note Dude in Colorado up close to that pace. Along with Top Recruit, the number 6, who will be trying a turf for the first time, and the 2, Curly, Larry, and Mo, who does have plenty of speed.
Yeah, I mean, it does feel like there's enough speed in here for this pace to heat up a little bit. We'll see how it all plays out, and we'll see how it affects Dude in Colorado. Maybe it's just the right spot for him, Dan.
You'll notice the LP over the chiclet on the number 8, Midnight Rising. That horse has the best late pace rating from Timeform US, and he could really appreciate a fast pace up front. Let's start things off with the number 1, Wadsworth, who's going to be trying turf for the first time, but it shouldn't be a problem. He's a son of Quality Road. His dam was a Grade 1 stakes winner on turf, and last time out, they tried him in a tough spot in the Jeff Ruby on synthetic. He caught 2 fills who bounced out of that race with a 105 buyer runner-up effort in the Kentucky Derby, and he did his best that day.
Yeah, that race just wound up being a little too tough for him. I really liked his prior 2 races. I know it was a maiden and an allowance optional claimer, but I really thought he looked good winning those races. Dan, I love his running style for this race. He's got a great post on the inside. You already mentioned his pedigree. You know, you never know until they try it. He is supposed to be even better on turf than he is on the other 2 surfaces.
Both of his wins have come at a mile. I like him cutting back from a mile and an 1/8 to 8 furlongs here. He draws inside with a versatile running style. I'm interested in your thoughts, Mike, on the 2, Curly, Larry, and Mo. To me, he just looks like a dirtied up horse. He went gate to wire at Keeneland on turf, going a mile as a 2-year-old. They threw him in the Breeders' Cup. That was a little bit too tough of a spot for him. They ran him first off the layoff at Gulfstream, and he just set a very fast pace before tiring. And last time out, they ran him on dirt. I think he's just dirtied up.
Yeah, I mean, that's one way to look at him. I guess the other way to look at him, and I feel like you're supposed to look at him your way, Dan, because he's 30-1 on the morning line. But the other way to look at him is he's got 1 win on the turf. That was against maidens at Keeneland last October, where he just got kind of loose on a really slow pace and earned a 68 buyer. So I think it's still questionable, you know, how good he actually is. But fair enough. His first 2 starts this year aren't that hard to excuse, and he's going to be a price.
Plus, he'll be close, unfortunately, to him, to that fast pace. It could work against him. We ran into a pretty good horse in that Gulfstream race. We went fast. The winner came back, just missed in the American Turf, a graded stake with a 93 buyer. Dunedin is the number 3. And Mike, it's fair to say Dunedin's trip just didn't work out last time out at Keeneland. He tried to split horses, and I'm not sure if he was going to win with a clean trip, but he never got through.
Yeah, didn't think he was going to win regardless. But yeah, he just got totally blocked in the stretch there and a lot of traffic. Give him a pass for that one, Dan. Also worth noting the other horse who's coming out of that race, Midnight Rising. It's another horse who maybe didn't get the greatest trip in the world there and did well to get 3rd. I don't know. I'm willing to give him the excuse for the last one. I don't like his other races enough to really want him in here. Particularly, I know it was off the layoff 2 back at Gulfstream, Dan. He ran fine in there. I didn't love that performance.
Of course, when you play these races on DRF bets, you get free formulator past performances. Click on the short comment line. You'll be able to watch the replays of these races, and you'll see the trouble we're talking about. The number 4 is Ironsides. This horse tried a mile and an 1/8 last time out at Keeneland in a first-level allowance. He pushed the pace. He tired. I'm expecting more patient tactics that have worked for him in the past, but I still have a lot of questions as to how good he is.
Yeah, that was my problem with them too. You know, I assume they will take him back a little bit this time, especially if the pace is fast. But it's not like he ran some kind of stellar race on the turf last time, going a little bit longer. And it's hard to really like him, I think, off of his prior form on the other surfaces.
Dude in Colorado scored over firm turf 2 starts back in a stakes race at Gulfstream. It was going a mile. I thought he had a pretty good trip doing it. He prompted a long shot from the outside, and when produced, he was able to get it done by a half length. They ran him back in the Transylvania at Keeneland, caught a little bit of give in the ground, which I'm not sure is his best situation, but I can't really fault the trip. He sat just off the winner after breaking from the outside, and he couldn't step with them late, but that was a good race. It produced a couple of next out winners.
Yeah, probably just a better race than this one. So maybe he has that going for him. I'm with you. I didn't think he ran that well in there. His other turf races, I mean, I guess they're fine. He got the stakes win 2 starts back. As you've already pointed out, though, he got a perfect trip in that race. I'm not even sure he was best that day, but he did manage to get the job done. He's fine. He makes a lot of sense in this race. Maybe Pletcher just found a great spot for him here, Dan, but I'm not taking a short price on this horse.
Always have to respect trainer Michael Maker off layoffs, especially with surface switches. And the 6 top recruit's going to try turf for the first time. His sire Midshipman wins about 14% with first-time turf runners. Top Recruit is a horse that has shown some ability and some speed on the dirt. He's got a lot of stamina in his pedigree. It'll be interesting to see if he transfers that speed on the grass or if they try something different, maybe coming from off the pace.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see if even if he does handle the turf, Dan, if he can get the right trip in here, because he could just add more fuel to the fire up front, and that may not really work out that well for him. I liked a couple of his races early on last year, but I liked him sprinting, Dan, and he obviously didn't get that much better towards the end of the year when they tried to go longer with him. And I also just didn't really see a ton of turf pedigree on the bottom. I love the Midshipmans on the grass, but I don't like the rest of his pedigree.
Worthington is another Maker trainee, the number 7. This horse at least has experience on the turf. He stakes placed on the surface. He ran on dirt in the Sam F. Davis throw it out. They ran him on synthetic in the Rushaway. He was really close to the pace that day. I like him getting Lasix for the first time. I think he's a bit of a sleeper in here at a decent price.
Yeah, it feels like another horse that could get the right trip in here, right? I mean, he's got speed to be forward, but he doesn't need to be on the lead. So maybe he just falls into one here, and maybe he takes the necessary step forward. I do think he has to improve. He's supposed to start doing that now as a 3-year-old, Dan. He gets Lasix. His 2 turf wins at the end of last year, I thought they were fine. I didn't think they were great, but I thought they were fine, and he can improve.
Midnight Rising, the number 8, has the fastest time form US late pace rating. We're expecting a fast pace up front, and he ran very well in his turf debut at Keeneland. This is an open first level allowance, and as you see, turning into the stretch, he's just going to find himself in a little bit of a pickle in behind horses, and he's going to have to wait a little bit. And by the time he gets to the outside, it's probably too late for him to do too much damage, but I like how he moves on for third.
Yeah, I gave him a little extra credit just for getting up late for third in this race, Dan, because he was blocked in the upper stretch there. I mean, it wasn't, a total disaster, but he easily, it could have cost him several positions in that race for sure, and he still managed to get up for third. So I gave him some extra credit for it. He's very lightly raced. He should run late in here, and he might be a fair price.
The 9 Ocean Point's very, very solid. He won a couple of races on synthetic. Not bad for a $30,000 claim back in 2022. Stakes placed in the Rushaway 2 starts back. He ran okay in this race at Keeneland when he finished third in a first level allowance. Again, another horse coming from off the pace. You see him on the far outside, and he'll grind his way up for third.
Yeah, he did grind. That's a good way to put it, Dan. He sort of grinds here going 9 furlongs. All in all, I thought he got a really good trip in this race, and he clearly has a shot at it here. He's just not doing enough. He's going to get fought off for second here, and he's a clear third. This was an okay performance. It didn't make me want to bet him back against this field, especially at the morning line price.
Mooncat's the number 10, and this horse should get the right setup. He likes to come from off the pace. The pace should be fast. But again, there's a question of his class. Last time out at Keeneland, he finished behind one of these, and he just didn't fire his best jump, but he was down inside for some of the running.
Yeah, he was in that replay that we just watched there where Ocean Point got up for third, and this horse just didn't really do that much. He just saved a lot of ground in there, got clear in the stretch, and didn't really fire that hard. I didn't like his race 2 starts back either. At Gulfstream Park, Dan. So I just felt like he had a lot to prove in here.
Gigante, the number 11, is another horse that could be part of this pace picture. Now, he won a stake at Colonial last year as a 2-year-old, and I think he got a pretty good situation that day. He pressed a 25-to-1 shot, and he was much the best in that field. And they tried him in the Bourbon. That was a very fast-paced race. He was part of it. He tired. I'm not interested in that race. I'm not interested in his dirt race, the Kentucky Jockey Club. I just think with this pace scenario, with this layoff from this post, we're asking a lot.
those things are working against him. I actually felt like he ran fine last time on dirt, which wasn't a surprise because he broke his maiden on dirt in his second career start, and he did so by overcoming a terrible stumble at the start of that race. He actually ran really well that day. I liked his stakes win on the grass. It wasn't much of a field. He got a great trip in there. I thought he looked really good winning, though. And I hated the ride that he got in the Bourbon. He was close to a fast pace anyway. He got a terrible ride in that race, and I feel like it wound up costing him at the end. I hate his post stand. I hate the layoff. Maybe this pace will work against him. I'm using this horse. I think he's going to be a fair price.
You do get the great Steve Asmussen in your corner. Before we get to our top selections, please click the subscribe button on the Daily Racing Form YouTube channel. Lots of Preakness Week content on the DRF YouTube channel. Top pick time for the Caesars at 2, Mike. You're going with Wadsworth, putting a little weight on my top pick.
Yeah, I just like his pedigree, and I like his form anyway, Dan. I think he's going to fall into a trip here. And, you know, the other horse that I like is the 11, and he's got all those things working against him that we just talked about. But they're the only two that I really want here. I'm betting against the favorite, the Pletcher horse, and I'm going 111 in this race.
I'm with you. I'm sort of against Todd's horse as well, even though he is getting Lasix. I know you liked Wadsworth a little bit going into the Jeff Ruby. Easy to see why by watching his races 2 and 3 back. He has the turf pedigree. I'm curious to see what we get from Curly, Larry, and Mo, because I think you can kind of make excuses for some of his last races. 111.58 for Mike, 1265 for me in the Caesars at Horseshoe, Indianapolis on Wednesday. Good luck.